Now, if we talk about greenhouses, first of all, farming has become very fashionable as a side business for many people in Kenya today. How much would it cost them to acquire a greenhouse in today's market?
Greenhouse cost will depend on the size and type of the greenhouses and the guaranteed period of existence. But we have companies providing as cheap as 399,000 Kenya shillings for a greenhouse of 8 by 30 meters.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that would be sort of the minimum investment they would have to make to get a greenhouse.
Yes, at your own farm, because that is that is what we call a greenhouse, a farmer's greenhouse kit. It is made up of the greenhouse structure, the tunnel, the VP plastic, drip lines, and 1,000 water liter tank.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you would give it to them fully functional, of course.
Yes.
But I do know that you deal with investments in greenhouses, you deal with construction, leasing, and also marketing of greenhouse products. Now, some people might think that there's a big difference between produce that comes from a greenhouse as opposed to a normal farm. Is there?
Yes and no. The difference is that we have high quality produce from greenhouses. And the other difference is that the products for greenhouses grow faster than the ones that depend on rain.
Okay, because you have all the controlled elements.
Yes.
Okay, and are there certain fruits or vegetables that thrive better in greenhouses?
Yeah, we have some of the vegetables that do well in greenhouses. Like we have the tomatoes, we have strawberries, we have capsicums, we have even herbs. They will do well in greenhouse than in open field.
Okay,
yes.
So for somebody who just starts off with their greenhouse, they have certain challenges they face when they're beginning, especially when it comes to a lot of things like maintenance, wear and tear. So if there's somebody who is just starting out in this space, what are some of the greatest challenges they can face?
One is adverse climatic weather conditions, because it will depend on where the greenhouse is. There are some places, but like for instance, when we do greenhouse to farmers, we check on the site, we do site assessment. We also do soil sampling, we collect soil samples, we do the analysis, because it's not all the soils that can support crop growth. Most of the farmers do not know the importance of soil testing. That is a very key factor when doing a greenhouse business.
Yeah.
Again, number two is where the greenhouse is located, because there can be some places where there is a lot of winds. Once you do your greenhouse, then the winds just blow it off. So it's important farmers to take care of the soils, and that we do in Goldenscape greenhouses. Once we come to your farm and you want us to do your greenhouse, we have to start with the site assessment. We tell you, is this place ideal for greenhouse establishment? Yes. If yes, now we go to soil testing. We test the soil. So we know even if tomatoes do well in greenhouses, there are different types of tomatoes. There are like we have Steve, F1 like me. There is a tomato species called Steve.
Okay.
We have another one called Anne, and we have others. So we'll tell you Steve can do well here and not Anne. Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. So what informed the choice of names of these tomatoes?
I might not know.
Okay,
yeah.
That was of course on a lighter note. But have you seen growth of greenhouse uptake in Kenya over the last few years?
Yes, we are saying that because of climatic changes, unpredictable weather patterns, like you've seen in the recent past, that we have not had enough rains for agriculture. And as we are saying, the research has it that by 2050, the population that we have right now in the whole world will be 50 times the ones that we have. It is estimated to be 9 billion people. This means that the only arable lands that we have in the world will have exerted pressure for farming. Like in Kenya, if we narrow down to Kenya, we'll find that 83% of the Kenyan land is semi-arid. Is arid and semi-arid areas, meaning we have 17%, and out of 17%, it's only 2% that is under irrigation. This means that every day, by 2009 census, we were 40 million. Right now, I don't know. These figures can double up. And it means that everybody hits. For us and for the government to get alternative sources of food supply, we have to think about greenhouses. So now, due to that, we have seen farmers embracing this greenhouse technology, because we have to ensure we have continuous and all year round production of food. So it is not so much well embraced, but we are hoping because we have nothing else to do apart from now seeking alternative sources of food production, and which is greenhouse technologies.
Okay.
Yes.
And so what sorts of technologies do greenhouses encompass to ensure that the produce that comes from them is of higher quality than what you'd be able to have without it?
Basically, if we go to definition of a greenhouse, we say that this is just a controlled environment for accelerated crop growth, meaning sunlight, humidity, and carbon dioxide. These are the three factors that contribute to growth of crops. In greenhouse, in an open field, they are not controlled by anybody, but in a greenhouse, they can be controlled.
Yes.
That's why a greenhouse is made of the plastic cover, and we have the roll-up nets on the sides. Meaning, when the temperatures are high, we can roll up the plastics, and then cool air gets in, and then when it's cold, we drop
Close
them,
it.
and then what is called rented energy is not emitted to the atmosphere. That makes the crops to grow faster. And again, because it is the crops in the greenhouses are not exposed to pesticides, are not exposed to airborne diseases, that makes the crops in the greenhouses grow faster than the ones that are outside the greenhouse.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you see other countries, such as our neighbors, for instance, within the East African region, adopting this technology at a much more rapid rate than us?
It is said that Rwanda is somehow far much ahead than us, because it's about adopting the technologies. In Kenya, we have the experts, we have the brains in Kenya, but the adoption is somehow minimal.
Okay.
But we are hoping in the last few years as a company, we have seen people embracing this technology of greenhouses.
So what kind of clients do you mostly attract? Is it the smallholder farmers? Is it those who have been around a lot? Or is it those who are just outliers and adventurous?
For our company, I can say we are all round, because we have investments of as little as 50,000 Kenya shillings, whereby we say them you can own. We know it's expensive for you to get like 400,000 to establish a greenhouse at your farm. Again, it's also expensive to maintain the greenhouse at your farm if you don't have the techniques and the skills of greenhouse technologies. It is through that Goldenscape came up and introduced an unique concept that we call lease a greenhouse concept, whereby even you at a studio, you can still farm. You don't have land, maybe you are a foreigner, we say you can do it on phone. You just give us a phone call, bring you a 380,000, we do the farming for you. We manage the crops for you. We sell the produce for you, and you get the profits.
So when it comes to marketing and access to markets, especially, what sorts of I would say standards do a lot of international export companies infiltrate into the market, so that those standards must be met for such farmers to be able to export their produce?
There are set standards like we have the global gap. You must be global gap certified. You must get export license from HCD. You must also be certified by KEFIS. And for us, we are compliant for all that.
Okay.
Yes.
So if I were to buy a greenhouse today and give you to manage it, then you would be the one to do all the other things, like getting the licenses and exporting, access to markets, all that?
Yes.
Wow, okay, that seems like a lot of work on your end. But thank you so much. Just your final thoughts, of course, on greenhouses in Kenya and their potential.
What I might say is that we don't have another alternative other than to look of other sources of food production. If we rely on rain-fed agriculture, then we are going to fail as a nation. Everybody has to eat. We have 3 meals. We are saying by the hunger index of 2018, Kenya was still rated as one of the countries that are grappling with food insecurity. So for us to get ourselves out of food insecurity, then we have to get food supply. And unless now we tap into greenhouse technology, then I don't think as a nation we are going anywhere. We still be crying of food insecurities and every day.
So it's one way to ensure that even the Big Four agenda's pillar of food security is met.
Yes, it is said that, and it's true, 1 square meter of a greenhouse is 10 times reproductive than an open field farming.
Okay.
So we can tap into greenhouses.
Okay, on that note, we'll wrap up. But thank you for joining us, Steve, and for giving us all that insight.
Yes, thank you.
All right, well, of